Imagine this. A lonely gas station on the edge of nowhere at 2 a.m. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead like tired insects, casting a sickly halo onto cracked concrete. The air reeks of gasoline and cold night air, and a man in a threadbare jacket sits on the curb by the empty lot. His shoulders are hunched so tight it's like he's trying to fold into himself and disappear. Our brains are wired to keep us alive, to protect us. So why does his feel like it's trying to kill him? Here's the twisted part. This man's mind isn't his shelter. It's his tormentor. Life has chewed him up and spat him out so many times he's lost count. Each passing headlight paints his gaunt face for a moment, and he watches strangers speed by as if they're a different species entirely. He's invisible, discarded, surviving on the scraps of his own broken dreams. And the cruel joke? The very brain that's supposed to keep him safe keeps telling him he's not worth the space he occupies on this planet.
Then it happens. The quiet is shattered by the low rumble of a car pulling into the station, tires crunching on loose gravel. The engine cuts off, and the driver's door thuds shut, a sharp, expensive sound echoing in the empty night. For a moment, the man on the curb freezes. That sound, it triggers something in him, a mix of hope and shame. He's heard doors slam before, usually right in his face, but desperation stirs in his gut, and desperation is one hell of a drug. Out steps a woman in a charcoal gray suit, sharp enough to cut glass. She looks completely out of place here, like an executive who took a wrong turn off the interstate. A gold watch glints on her wrist under the fluorescent glare, and she moves with the easy confidence of someone who's used to being listened to. Everything about her practically shouts, "I've made it!" And in that instant, the man on the curb feels every scuff on his shoes, every hole in his reality, and every single door that's ever been slammed on him. His mouth is dry, but he forces himself to stand. Muscle memory kicks in. He shuffles forward on unsteady legs, one hand extended, the other nervously wringing the edge of his coat. The words fall out of him, cracked and familiar. "Spare some change?" He said those words 1,000 times to empty air and hurried footsteps, but this time they hang there between them, fragile as glass. It's not even a real question. It's a ritual he's learned by heart, a script written by survival. The woman stops mid-step. Instead of walking past him or looking through him like he's part of the asphalt, she actually looks at him. Her eyes, sharp and assessing, meet his. For a second, the world holds its breath. Then she asks quietly, "Do you ever give anything, or do you just take?" Her voice isn't cruel or kind. It's matter of fact, like she truly wants to know. But the question lands between his ribs and lodges there, sharp and barbed. It's the last thing he expected to hear. The words hit him like a fist to the gut. He opens his mouth, and a jumbled defense spills out. Something about having nothing to give, about how he's just trying not to die out here, about how the world kicks you when you're down. His face burns with shame under the buzzing lights. The woman listens, head tilted, then she just nods toward his forehead. "Your brain keeps a ledger," she says, tapping her temple. "If you only ever withdraw, why would anyone deposit?" He blinks, unsure he heard right. But before he can form a reply, the woman is already sliding back into her car. The engine roars to life, and as the sleek car pulls away, she leaves him with nothing but the echo of that question and the red glow of taillights fading into the dark. He's left standing in the silence, heart hammering in his chest. For the first time in years, it's not just hunger or cold or anger that's gnawing at him. It's uncertainty. Her question ricochets inside his skull. Do I ever give anything? He doesn't have an answer. That night, he tries to sleep in his usual spot behind the dumpster, pulling cardboard over him to keep out the chill. But he can't drift off. Her words keep replaying in his mind, over and over, like a song stuck on loop. You just take. You just take. What if she's right? What if he's been playing this whole survival game completely wrong?
2 days later, just after dawn, he finds himself back at that gas station. The question still haunts him, darkening every thought. As the first pale light creeps over the horizon, he notices something he must have walked past 100 times. A patch of wildflowers struggling up through a crack in the concrete by the chain-link fence. Bright yellow dandelions and little purple weeds, splashes of color in all the gray bleakness. He almost laughs at the absurdity. Flowers, here? They're scruffy and unwanted, probably poisoned by exhaust fumes, but they're alive. In a place built for steel and petrol, these tiny things found a way to give something beautiful. An idea tugs at him. Crazy, terrifying, possibly stupid. His brain immediately snares. This won't change a damn thing. But something deeper, something hopeful, pushes him forward. He walks over and gingerly plucks a handful of those wildflowers. The stems are dewy and fragile between his calloused fingers. That afternoon, when a wary trucker pulls in and, out of pity, tosses him some spare coins, the man does something he's never done before. He musters a real, genuine thanks, and then offers one of those crumpled wildflowers in return. The trucker pauses, mid-step, staring at this small, unexpected gift. The tough lines of the trucker's face soften. It's like watching a light switch on inside someone. The man accepts the flower with a baffled smile, as if he's just been reminded of something pure and forgotten. Without a word, he nods and drives off, a bright yellow flower riding on his dusty dashboard. Here's where things start to change. Our guy begins doing this every single day. Every morning, he scours the edges of that lot for any bloom of life he can find. Scraggly flowers, pretty weeds, anything. When people drop a coin or a crumpled bill in his cup, he doesn't just pocket it with a mumbled thanks anymore. He reaches out and gives something back. A flower, a kind word, a moment of humanity. And something strange and electric starts humming in his chest each time. It's pride, or joy, or purpose. He can't quite name it, but it feels like warmth in a place that's been cold for eons. Neuroscience backs this up. The act of giving flips on reward switches in your brain, flooding you with feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. In other words, every time he gives away a flower, his brain lights up a little brighter. He's literally starting to rewire his mind, one small act at a time. Not every day is easy, of course. Some mornings he finds no flowers at all. Maybe the weather scorched them or a groundskeeper tore them out. Those days, he improvises. He offers a sincere compliment, a helping hand with directions, anything to keep the spirit of giving alive. And, truth be told, those days are the hardest. The old hunger and doubt creep in, whispering that this is all stupid, that he's fooling himself. But he doesn't quit. He can't quit. Because every exchange, every raised eyebrow that melts into a grin, every hesitant thank you he receives, lays down another brick in the new foundation he's building inside his mind. With each tiny gesture, he feels a bit more human, a bit more alive. He's no longer just surviving on the fringes. He's participating in the world, one humble flower at a time. 3 weeks later, just past midnight, that same black luxury car rolls back into the gas station. The man recognizes the purr of that engine instantly. How could he forget? He stands up, brushing the dust off his coat, and this time he doesn't shuffle or lower his gaze. His spine is straight as an arrow. The car door opens, and the well-dressed woman steps out again, perhaps not even expecting to see him. He approaches her, but not like a beggar now, like an equal. "Ma'am," he says, voice steady and clear, "it's good to see you. I have something for you tonight." In his hand is the prettiest wildflower he could find, a small white blossom that managed to bloom near the base of a streetlight. "A flower," he says, with a gentle smile, "in exchange for whatever you feel it's worth." The woman's eyebrows lift in surprise. Then that stern, businesslike face warms into a genuine smile, slow, real, and filled with recognition. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a couple of bills, but it's clear her mind is on something more valuable than money. She accepts the little white flower, handling it as carefully as if it were made of gold. "So," she murmurs, almost to herself, "you figured it out." The man just nods once, gratitude and pride shining in his eyes. "You're not begging anymore," she continues. "You're trading. You changed the story you were telling yourself, and that changed everything." He feels those words in every corner of his soul. She presses the money into his hand, not charity, but a fair trade, and for the first time, he actually feels rich.